Well, that sucked. That's it. There's your intro. That sucked. Bears lose. 21-16 to the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know. If you want my honest take, right, first impressions right out of the gate, I'm not as upset at this loss that most people would, expect to be. I'm going to be honest. Because, yes, there's going to be a lot of negative reactions because guess what? They take an L. But if you're like me and am trying to be patient, but then again, us Bears fans have been patient with quarterbacks for years and years and years. We're tired of it. We want to see success right now. I'm trying to be patient, man. I'm trying to be patient. And frankly, this was the game that Caleb Williams needed from a pass yards perspective. Obviously, not going to go ahead and just forget and ignore the 3 turnovers, but I'll get to that in just a minute. I thought that this is a much better performance from Caleb individually than what we saw the last couple weeks. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm taking a lot more positives away from this week than I did over the last 2 weeks combined offensively. I'm going to start with the positives. Now, why would you start with the positives? Because I want to. I'm not trying to sit here and say that everything is like the end of the world. Because I can tell you right now, I haven't even looked on Twitter right now. I can tell you for a fact there are so many people who are thinking this is DEFCON 12 right now. And it's the apocalypse happening because the Bears lost their football game. I'm starting with the positives. Since I started doing these reactions all the way back in 2020, this is my 5th year doing this, I have seen one 300-yard pass effort thrown by a Chicago quarterback. And that was Justin Fields last year, week 4 against Denver, which they blew a 21-point lead. And I laughed so hard because it was just comical at that point. Caleb Williams threw for 363 yards today. That does not happen in Chicago. That does not happen. Especially with a guy who was drafted by Chicago. That is impressive. Everyone's panicking. It's over. I want Justin Fields back. He's 2-0. I don't want Caleb Williams. He looks bad. He threw 2 picks in a Sunday night game against one of the best teams in the league last year. I hate this. This is why you pump the brakes, and this is why you realize it's his 2nd game in the league. Because look what he did today. Over 300-yard passing, threw for more yards in this game than Justin Fields did in a single game for the Bears. He threw 300 yards one time with Chicago. One time. And they still lost that game. So why don't we all pump the brakes and just recognize that's pretty good. 363 yards is not bad. Look, am I going to ignore the fact that he had 3 total turnovers and is pretty much the exact reason why the Bears lost this game? No, I'm not going to ignore that. But, again, it's his 3rd start in the NFL, and he's going on the road for the 2nd straight week. And he still threw for over 300 yards. And it was a 1-possession game. He played well, especially in that 4th quarter. Don't mind, again, forget the strip sack even happens. Outside of that play, he played well in that 4th quarter. Again, he had 3 turnovers in this game. Not good, including a crucial strip sack in the middle of the 4th quarter with his team down 1 possession. Deep in his own territory. And he gets strip sacked by, guess who? The top defensive pick in the NFL draft this year, Latu, former UCLA Bruin, strip sacking a former USC Trojan. That rivalry's still in play. But again, I don't know, man. I don't know. God forbid I get to look at something, positively after a loss, right? Alex, why are you having such a good outlook at this loss? They lost a football game. Why aren't you yelling and screaming about this? This is the end of the world. Well, I'll give you 2 reasons. One. Start with one. Caleb Williams threw for over 300 yards. Again, I have to reiterate this. Justin Fields did that only once with the Bears. One time. And that was barely over 300 yards. And that was a game they flat out choked. They should have won that game too. But again, 2. It's improvement. When Justin Fields said that was year 3. Caleb Williams in game 3 had more passing yards in this game than Justin Fields had in a single game in his time with Chicago. Caleb Williams has as many 300-yard passing games as Justin Fields with his time in Chicago. That's just the bottom line. That you can't argue that. That is the bottom line. Caleb Williams has as many 300-yard passing games as Justin Fields does. And 2, it's just his third game. Yes, I may have said it number 2 already, but it's his third game. If he learns from these types of mistakes, if these mistakes, the strip sack, the bad interception, if he takes these types of experiences and those throws, and some of those overthrows too, and learns from it and becomes the Bears' starting quarterback for the next decade and a half, yeah, this loss is going to be fine. I'm going to be okay with a loss like this. I'm going to be okay if he is our starting quarterback for the next 10 years. So again, I'm not freaking out. This isn't Deus Ex Machina. I can say that phrase right. It's not the end of the world. It's his third start, and he showed massive signs of improvement despite still looking like a rookie. Now, I've been jumping through these hoops you've been noticing. It feels like I'm jumping through imaginary hoops right now because guess what? I saw the discourse online. It was ridiculous. So many Bears fans were ready to give up on this guy because he's 1-1 through 2 games, and Justin Fields, the guy they let go, is 2-0. Williams and Fields had led their respective teams to the same amount of touchdown drives in the first 2 games. So I didn't understand it. Caleb Williams had more passing yards than Justin Fields, albeit not by much, but still had more passing yards. It was ridiculous. I thought it was just so ridiculous that there were all these comparisons between the two, and people were calling for Caleb Williams to just get it together. It's like it was 2 games. Justin Fields is in year 4. I don't know. And Caleb Williams looked better than him today. Threw for over more than 100 yards more than Justin Fields did today. And you know why I'm talking about this? Because I've seen so much discourse about it. Again, just to reiterate, I've seen so much discourse about it, and I am just like, I'm sick of it already. It's week 3. Can we calm down? Now, before I get too frustrated, I'm going to go ahead and move on. All right? I want to talk about the other aspects of this game. Defense still played pretty good. Secondary played well. Anthony Richardson didn't look that great. I'll be honest, he didn't look that great. Didn't throw for 200 yards, 2 picks, no touchdowns. The Colts' leading receiver at the end of the game was Alec Pierce, who had 1 catch for 45 yards. That was it. Secondary did its job. And, for the first half of that game, that run defense was really good. But there were a couple brutal penalties that kept some drives alive for Indianapolis. And in the second half, Jonathan Taylor really tore off some big runs. And, of course, really kind of put the nail in the coffin with his second rushing touchdown. Snaps 8 straight games with the Bears allowing less than 20 points. Longest active streak in the league. Very Bears stat, I'm going to be honest. But, he can't hold him much longer. He can't keep holding him off all the time. Blah, 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 whatever you want to say. Jonathan Taylor had a good game. Jonathan Taylor had the 2 big plays. The 2 touchdowns. Of course, he had a couple other big splash plays. Jonathan Taylor just proving why he's still a top running back in the league. And I think he did a great job against that run defense that has been pretty freaking good for the Bears so far this year. I can talk about how well the defense played, in certain situations. Of course, tough at the end of the game when they're, just getting off the field, force a crucial incompletion, and then in one play, give the ball right back to the other team and deep in their own territory. Didn't surprise me they let up a touchdown. I mean, that's a lot to ask for that defense. And that's something that the offense needs to make sure that they can just let the defense rest. And, let them have a couple plays to just sit on the bench. Anyways, defense played well. I want to shift back to the offense, but everything kind of outside of Caleb Williams. First, Shane Waldron. Oh my God, what an idiot. Oh my God. Can he stop doing these stupid run plays with DeAndre Swift? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that the Bears are paying DeAndre Swift as much as they are, so they feel like they're obligated to get him touches. But it is absolutely asinine for them to just continue to hand the ball off to DeAndre Swift when he's averaging less than 3 yards a carry, maybe even less than 2 yards a carry. I think it averaged less than 2 yards a carry in this game. It was ridiculous. DeAndre Swift, just in this game, this was supposed to be the game where if the rushing game was going to show any signs of productivity, this had to be the game. Especially after the Packers ran for over 200 yards in the first half against the Colts last week. DeAndre Swift has 20 yards on a little more than 10 carries, under 2 yards a carry. And thank God Travis Homer was inactive. No hate to the guy individually, but the fact that they were finally able to use Roschon Johnson, and he actually made plays. Roschon Johnson actually made plays. I think that Roschon Johnson is showing Shane Waldron he should play him more often, and rightfully so. Johnson's a good running back. He's going to pick up some yards. He blows through contact, unlike DeAndre Swift, where he has no vision right now, and he's running into the first guy he sees, trying to truck him over, and he can't ever do so. The rushing offense was just putrid today, especially with how bad the Colts defense, run defense specifically, has been through the first 2 weeks. That was abysmal. That cannot happen. And the thing is, I don't know how you improve the running game. Because if they're going to look this bad against one of the worst rush defenses in the league so far, who knows? My biggest solution, give the ball to Roschon Johnson. Give the ball to Khalil Herbert. DeAndre Swift's now running back 3. I'm sorry. I don't care they're paying this much. Cut your losses. Don't give him as many touches. I'm sorry. If you're smart and you want to win, you disregard how much you're paying a guy, and you're just recognizing that your third string outran DeAndre Swift on half the carries. There's the stats and the numbers and just the overall feel every time they ran the ball with said ball carrier. It says everything. It says everything. That run offense is awful, and Roschon Johnson getting more touches is, I think, the key to helping the offense, that run offense, get back to some sort of competency. Now let's get to the passing game. Of course, I've talked at length about Caleb Williams so far. I want to talk about the receivers because this was Rome Odunze's breakout game, baby. This was Rome Odunze's breakout game. He looked great. 6 catches, over 100 yards. His first touchdown in the NFL. Mind you, also Caleb Williams' first touchdown pass. So they both have their first on the same play, which made for a very funny moment right after where they're like, Odunze's not letting go of that ball. Caleb's trying to chase him down, playing around. That was great. Rome Odunze had a great game. Breaking a couple tackles, making some good catches. There were a couple, throws where I feel like he could have improved a little bit, but I'm picking at straws there. Odunze had a great game. And then again, another guy proving Shane Waldron's an idiot, Cole Kmet, who barely got any snaps in those first 2 games. Guess what happens? 10 receptions, almost 100 yards himself, and the other touchdown Caleb Williams threw. Cole Kmet, what a great tight end. Shane Waldron apparently didn't understand that until today, and hopefully he can be more involved with the offense because he was great. He was there on several crucial third downs down the stretch when the Bears ended up getting their second touchdown of the game. Cole Kmet was there with some crucial catches on third down. Of course, the touchdown catch on fourth down. I really liked what Cole Kmet had going on. And then DJ Moore had a couple nice receptions. He was a reliable target in the short game. And of course, caught that Hail Mary at the end of the first half. It was down at the 1. Of course, that was brutal. He caught it off the tip, just couldn't get in. So close. But, DJ Moore still had a nice game. The receiving game was great. And this is without Keenan Allen, by the way. Imagine if Keenan Allen actually, comes back healthy and has his hands back. I'm telling you, man. A bit of a rougher game defensively. Jonathan Taylor really breaking a lot of tackles and getting through the first wave of the defense, getting to the secondary. That was what really killed this Bears team. They really limited the impact for the linebacking core. Of course, Tremaine Edmonds had the great interception in the end zone, which, by the way, what the hell is Anthony Richardson doing? Like, Jack Sanborn's right up in his face, but, like, why are you throwing it? And I know it's, like, the only option he has, but just throw it out of the end zone. Why are you throwing it in triple coverage where Tremaine Edmonds is right in front of the receiver you're trying to fit it into? Absolutely boneheaded mistake. And it cost the Colts at least 3 points, most likely 7 points. But, there were a lot of points left on the board in this game, and it was still 21-16. There's definitely at least, 10 points the Bears left off the board. There's 7, and I can think of right off the top of my head that the Colts left off the board. So, there was some inefficiency offensively, but again, you can't really complain when the Bears have over 400 yards total offense. And the Colts didn't really have much going on in the passing game. Again, had those 2 plays that were kind of broken, and they were able to beat the defense in a good play scheme, like having that tight end peel off after Edwards was covering him, and he's just wide open, breaks into the second level. And, of course, into the deep pass to Alec Pierce. But, outside of that, nothing for that passing offense. They could barely get anything going. And so that's why they stuck with the run game, because Jonathan Taylor was making things happen. He was making plays happen. And, of course, he led the team down the field, scored 2 touchdowns. He had a great game. Another big reason why this is a big loss for the Bears instead of a big win. Problems in coaching. I alluded to it a little earlier. Shane Waldron had some pretty bad play calls. Relying on Swift in the running game. Couple guys really proving why Shane Waldron's an idiot for not playing them more. Cole Kmet and Roschon Johnson, the 2 big people who just proved to Shane Waldron he needs to put them in his scheme. Because not throwing to Cole Kmet and throwing to Gerald Everett instead, and running Travis Homer a couple times instead of running Roschon Johnson, is proving stupid. Shane Waldron's play calling is absolutely infuriating to go watch. Again, they didn't do it as much as they did a couple weeks ago. They weren't doing as much. They kind of started to get rid of the bubble screen, all the time type thing. But he still ran that a couple times. And my problem with it was, he's getting that ball into the hands of the right guys. DJ Moore, DeAndre Carter were the 2 guys on the screen plays I think that he should throw to. They're the guys who can make plays. DeAndre Carter is pretty fast. He can break a tackle or 2. DJ Moore is usually pretty good trying to take those things upfield. Where's the blocking? Where is the blocking? Especially that bubble screen to DJ Moore. He is asked to go one-on-one with Kenny Moore. Or I think it was Kenny Moore who was on him. Maybe it wasn't Kenny Moore, but he's asked to go one-on-one, no blocker, to go catch the ball and then turn it upfield. Of course, naturally, the throw is, to be fair, a little high, but, he still comes down with it and can't make a play on it. It's just bad design. A lot of bad design. And I haven't even mentioned this. I don't know how I haven't. How about we talk about the points that are left off the board? Santos missed a 56-yarder, a little short. Kind of you're gonna want that. But again, 55+ yarder. It's a pretty unlikely kick. I'm not gonna hold it too much against him. What I will hold against the Bears, what was that goal-to-go situation in the first half? What the hell was that? That was ridiculous. Idiotic. Yeah, run it up the gut 3 times in a row. All right, okay. Sometimes you just want to trust that your guys can push the pile more than the other guys. Didn't happen. Don't know how they went 2 times in a row and decided not to pull away, quick pass or something. I don't know how they decided not to pick up on the fact that they were stacking the box. Who knows? Whatever. 4th down. What the hell was that, Shane Waldron? That is a play calling problem. Yeah, we went up the middle 3 times in a row. Caleb, you're going to take it and you're going to run it in. But if you don't like what you see, toss it back to DeAndre Swift. He doesn't like what he sees because the lane's completely open for a defender to just blow right through. And guess what? He flips it back to DeAndre Swift. 10-yard loss on a 4th and goal play from the 1. That cannot happen. Cannot. And my biggest problem, what's with the personnel? Why is it DeAndre Swift the one that's out there and not Roshan Johnson or Khalil Herbert? Why? Shane, please. I need an actual answer. Why are you throwing DeAndre Swift out there when he has shown you absolutely nothing throughout the rest of that game? Not only that game, but through the rest of the season that he cannot run. And he's not beating guys out. He hasn't been. And he did not do it on that play. Just a ridiculously stupid, idiotic play call. And then, of course, don't get me started about the fact that they had to burn a timeout in the second half because they wanted to go for 2 instead of 1. So that's just poor communication among the coaching staff, and that's on them. There were some bad coaching blunders in this game. Not everything was Caleb's fault. Of course, turnovers, that isn't directly, not always directly a product of bad play calls. Sometimes just bad execution. But again, there were some other opportunities. The Bears left 10 points off the board for sure in that game. Now, of course, there's a ton of things to talk about. You know, that crucial, terrible encroachment neutral zone infraction call against DeMarcus Walker in the fourth quarter when the Colts were going to punt. They ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive. And, of course, then the other touchdown was happened after the strip sack. So, I mean, Colts scored 14 points off of takeaways, and then the other touchdown came off of a 4th and 2 offsides call. That's how that kept that drive alive. And that is just absolutely brutal. There are some mistakes, and there are some things that this team's going to really want to look at. But overall, a much better performance. I feel much better about the team as a whole after this one than I did last week or the week prior. So, I mean, there's a lot more positives to take out of this one than the other 2 weeks, probably combined, especially offensively. Of course, 2 big reasons why the Bears lost the football game. 3 turnovers. Caleb's got to clean that up. But again, it's his 3rd game. He's a rookie. He's learning. And that's, you know, the fact that he threw some of those passes were really, really nice. Some of them, not as nice. So he's got some inconsistency going right now. Of course, it's just 3 games. You know, he's got to build that consistency up over the next couple months and, of course, into the next season. Other side of the coin. Defense, of course, I'm not going to put that 1 touchdown that pretty much sealed the game. All on the defense. Of course, you know, you'd like to get them to hold them to 3 points. But, you know, they gave him the ball inside the 30, and they had 1 play to rest. The other 2 drives were brutal. You know, they had to go a bit of a long field, and Jonathan Taylor ran it in a long ways for the game's first touchdown, and then, you know, the brutal penalty that kept the drive going, which really hurts because the Bears, outside of that, really played a pretty, disciplined game. There were very few penalties. I don't think maybe there was 1 false start penalty, but, that was really nice. Maybe, I think, 2 holding calls. But again, I thought that they played pretty disciplined outside of that 1 brutal call that ended up actually costing them 6 points. So again, a lot of positive takeaways offensively. Again, 3 turnovers. Big reason why they lost the game. But over 300 yards, over 350 yards passing for Caleb Williams. And not 1, but 2 passing touchdowns and 2 offensive touchdowns. Wow! They figured it out in the fourth quarter. So, you know, and they were playing some of their better football at the end of that game. Some, of course, you know, the strip sack doesn't help, but the 2 drives sandwiching that drive were touchdown drives, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, there's some positives to take away, for sure. And I have a much better feeling going into next week than I did going into this game. Anyways, I'm going to get you guys out of here. Next week is the LA Rams. Big game at home. Got the Chicago faithful after 2 tough road losses. We'll see what happens in Soldier Field. If you like this video, please give it a like. Hit that subscribe button for more reactions from me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.